Okay, Chelsea. This
Yeah.
one is fairly recent, and it somewhat has to do with our like rich person's emotions
Okay.
strand of things, but it's not the rich people, unfortunately. It's the rest of us who have to deal with the emotional stuff.
Okay. Intriguing.
Remember, again, whenever we're talking about these kind of emotions, they're spelled Emocean
Of course.
because we like a pun that it doesn't sound great when said. This article comes from The Guardian, written May 4th, 2026 by Oliver Millman. Article title, Point of No Return. New Orleans relocation must start now due to sea level study finds.
Do you think it has started now? Maybe that's the article.
It might be.
You just
and it has.
just read it.
Yeah.
You might as well.
The process of relocating people from New Orleans should start immediately as the city has reached a point of no return that will see it surrounded by the ocean within decades due to the climate crisis, a stark new study has concluded. Ongoing sea level rise and the rampant erosion of wetlands in southern Louisiana will swallow up New Orleans area within a few generations, with the new paper estimating the city may well be surrounded by the Gulf of Mexico before the end of this century. Low-lying southern Louisiana faces multiple threats, with rising sea levels driven by global heating, compounded by strengthening hurricanes, also a feature of the climate crisis, and the gradual subsidence of a coastline that has been carved apart by the oil and gas industry. Southern Louisiana is facing 3 to 7 meters of sea level rise and the loss of 3/4 of its remaining coastal wetlands, which will cause the shoreline to migrate as much as 100 kilometers inland.
Wow.
Thereby stranding New Orleans and Baton Rouge, according to the study, which compared today's rising global temperatures with a period of similar heat 125,000 years ago that caused a rise in sea levels. This scenario makes the region the, quote, most physically vulnerable coast zone in the world, end quote. The researchers state it requires immediate action to prepare a smooth transition for people away from New Orleans, which has a population of about 360,000 people, to safer ground. Louisiana has also experienced population loss in recent years, and this trend will accelerate in a disordered way, the paper warns. Should no action be taken to confront the perils faced by its largest city and surrounding communities. Quote, while climate mitigation should remain the first step to prevent the worst outcomes, coastal Louisiana has evidently already crossed the point of no return, end quote, added the perspective paper published in the Nature Sustainability Journal. A perspective paper is a scholarly article that provides an assessment rather than new data. Billions of dollars have been spent to fortify New Orleans with a vast network of levees, floodgates, and pumps erected after 2005's catastrophic Hurricane Katrina. But the growing threat to the city means the levees, which already required hefty upgrades to remain sufficient, will not be able to save the city in the long run, the new paper warns. Quote, in paleoclimate terms, New Orleans is gone. The question is how long it has, end quote, said Jesse Keenan, an expert in climate adaptation at Tulane University and one of the paper's 5 co-authors. Keenan said the time frame available to plan a retreat isn't certain, but, quote, it's more likely decades rather than centuries. Even if you stop climate change today, New Orleans' days are still numbered. It will be surrounded by open water, and you can't keep an island situated below sea level afloat. There's no amount of money that can do that, end quote.
Isn't that what Venice is?
Not quite. I think it's above sea level. It's just like, it's a marsh.
Yes.
City, state, and federal leaders should begin to work to help support people moving away from New Orleans region in a coordinated way, starting with the most vulnerable communities, such as those in Plaquemines Parish, who live outside the levee system, Keenan said. Quote, New Orleans is in terminal condition, and we need to be clear with the patient that it is terminal. There is an opportunity for palliative care. We can transition people and the economy. We can get ahead of this. End quote. But he added, quote, no politicians want to first give this terminal diagnosis. They will speak about it behind closed doors, but never in public, end quote. New Orleans faces obvious challenge. Situated in a bowl-shaped basin below sea level, the city already has 99% of its population at major risk of severe flooding, the worst exposure of any city, according to a separate study released last week. Quote, even compared to all other U.S. cities, New Orleans really stands out, which is alarming, end quote, said Wenyun Shao, a co-author of the study and a geographer at the University of Alabama. Quote, there's no specific timeline to how long New Orleans has left, but we know it's in big trouble. They're facing one of the highest sea level rises in the world, and I don't know how long human efforts can fight against the tides. It's like a time bomb, end quote. There is quite a bit more of the article. I think we have enough of it to at least get a picture, and we'll post the article in the article
As
description.
Always.
Sorry, in the description.
Do you guys read those, I wonder? That should be our question on Spotify this week.
Yeah.
Do you guys read the articles that we post up to, at least starting from the point that we stopped reading? I have some thoughts on this. It's interesting that, like, nobody's talking about it unless it's behind closed doors. And I think it's something that a lot of politicians do. And I don't know why. We were actually talking about something similar just the other day about, nothing is, like, preventative or fixing anything. It's just kind of...
Not anymore.
They seem to want to not do anything at all. And it just seems to all go down on fire, really.
It's just basically rely on everything we have in place and don't even try to fix those things or make sure they're actually prepared for anything.
It's super concerning.
I do get fully, though, just the worry of being the first person to say, by the way, the city's kind of screwed, we need to evacuate it. And the other politician in a two-party system saying, I can't believe you're just saying that to this city. You're going to abandon
it's kind of fucked up, though, if you think about it.
But that's how it works. And, like,
Absolutely.
people will just attach to the emotions of the person who says, why are you saying that?
It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. People don't want to be uncomfortable. And therefore, that's where, another politician would win. And then, in the end, they're going to be super fucked over.
And can I just say, as a side note to this, which I don't think has much to do with the story, but I had no idea New Orleans was only 360,000 people. I thought it was way bigger.
Really?
Yeah. I thought it was like one of the major cities of the U.S. I shouldn't say major.
I didn't think that, but I would have thought it was bigger. Small. Yeah. Next thing I wanted to mention is, should I be adopting the outlook that New Orleans is gone when people want to talk about it? Should I just say, why are we talking about that? It's gone. It
depends on what you mean by talk about it. Like, should I move there? No, it's gone. Should I go on vacation there? I mean, you could for the next few years.
Might as well while it's still there. There's a sense of urgency. Yeah. The next thing I wanted to add quickly, because this is getting long for a mini, what would it look like? And maybe that's why it's only talked about behind doors. What would it look like to actually move a city, New Orleans?
You know what the crazy thing, too, is, like, they're saying, like, it's 3 to 7 meters of sea level rise, and I don't know how far below sea level New Orleans is.
Yeah.
But, like, there's tall enough buildings that, like, they'll still stick above water.
Yeah, wouldn't that be so creepy? Yeah. But, like, how does that look? Like, New Orleans, like, essentially starting from scratch, a city that has so much history and ghosts, you're making, like, a whole new, first of all, a whole new, more concerning thing for ghosts, because, the city's going to be gone, so there's going to be a lot more concerning ghosts, but might not be reachable totally, except for scuba divers. Secondly, to, like, rebuild all of this infrastructure, where does it go? It's not going to be New Orleans, it's going to be New Orleans, and it's going to suck probably compared to old Orleans.
I would assume they're not just going to build a new city for people. I assume they would, like, disperse them to all of the cities that already exist and just, like, expand the infrastructure from there.
See, and that
seems a lot easier.
That's where I would have trouble leaving, I think, if my city wasn't
the
going.
The billionaires out there kind of have... There's some people that kind of want, like, libertarian cities out there, too, like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, where they just get to basically do whatever they want, which maybe it's them who will be taking these people, which sounds awful.
Yeah, that does sound awful. I think those are all my points, and a terrible point to leave it on.
Yeah. And hey, you guys got 48 hours. Go visit New Orleans, unless you're listening to this like a decade in the future, in which case, please do not go visit New Orleans. Anyhow, bye.